The Church Growth and Giving Show, your resource for growing faithful communities. Brought to you by Vanco, helping tens of thousands of churches thrive for over 20 years. Join Jordan and Andy as they share insights drawn from decades of church giving and engagement expertise.
This should be a really powerful episode of the Church Growth and Giving Show. Our topic today is vital church leadership roles and their responsibilities in guiding a faith community to live out its mission.
Leadership matters, but it goes beyond the obvious. Most people notice preaching, music, small groups, maybe youth activities, but few pause to consider the network of leaders coordinating behind the scenes. The 12 key roles we're discussing make the difference between a church that merely survives and one that flourishes. When a congregation identifies, equips, and supports people for each role, ministries run with purpose, resources get stewarded properly, and members experience meaningful growth.
We'll break down those 12 positions one by one, weaving in real world examples and practical insights to show what effective leadership looks like. Let's start with the Executive Minister of Administration.
Picture a bustling stage production. The lead actor receives accolades, but the stage manager keeps the show running. In a flourishing church, the stage manager is the Executive Minister of Administration. This person supports the senior pastor by managing staff, overseeing day-to-day operations, and ensuring all departments follow established policies. Duties might include coordinating holiday service schedules, supervising building maintenance, and mediating interdepartmental questions. When the senior pastor attends a citywide clergy meeting or visits members in hospital rooms, ministry doesn't miss a beat because the executive minister holds the reins back home.
Some pastors can field 15 to 20 operational questions daily. Volunteer signups, budget clarifications, maintenance requests all land on their desk. Once they have a capable executive minister, they can invest that recovered time in sermon prep, strategic prayer, and community partnerships.
A second pivotal position is the associate minister. This role blends apprenticeship with active pastoral duties. Responsibilities vary by context, but usually include preaching during the pastor's absence, teaching midweek classes, visiting shut-ins, and providing pastoral care to families in crisis. The associate gains experience while relieving pressure on senior leadership. Churches benefit because members hear varied voices and enjoy consistent shepherding even when the pastor's calendar is full.
At some churches, associates shadow counseling sessions, debrief sermon outlines, and lead monthly communion services. Down the road, that can prepare them to lead their own church if that's the direction God calls them.
Now we come to the Minister of Finance. Nothing can erode trust faster than mishandled funds. This leader safeguards the church's integrity by drafting annual budgets, maintaining accurate records, issuing timely financial reports, and guiding decisions on capital projects. They often coordinate with volunteer finance committees to review expenditures. When major purchases arise, say a new roof or upgraded audio equipment, the Minister of Finance gathers bids, compares warranty terms, and recommends prudent options.
I heard about a church in Atlanta that hired a certified public accountant for this post after suffering a 6-month deficit. The CPA implemented envelope accounting software, scheduled quarterly audit reviews, and posted simplified giving statements on the church website. Giving rose 14% within a year because transparency bolstered confidence.
That's a huge impact, and it leads us to our next role, education, which fuels discipleship. The Minister of Education designs curricula, recruits teachers, and monitors learning objectives from nursery age through senior adult classes. They map out new member pathways so recent attendees grasp foundational doctrine, spiritual disciplines, and service opportunities. They might coordinate a 4-week theology basics course or partner with local seminaries for continuing education tracks.
There have been churches whose education minister institutes something like a Bible through the Year program. Participants read assigned passages daily, then discuss them in small groups on Sundays. Activities like this boost biblical literacy across the congregation and create intergenerational friendships because teens study alongside retirees.
Next up is the Minister of Music and Performing Arts. Worship engages heart and mind, so musical direction has to align with theological depth. This minister auditions vocalists, schedules rehearsals, collaborates with the preaching team on thematic flow, and introduces new songs that resonate with congregational identity. If the church offers drama or dance, the same leader often oversees creative scripts, choreographs presentations, and ensures each performance supports the sermon emphasis rather than distracts from it.
One cool idea some churches utilize is integrating spoken word poetry between songs to highlight different themes. Congregants often say those artistic moments help them internalize the sermon's focus beyond what the pastor had to say.
Up next is the executive leader of ministries. This person oversees department heads across the board. Picture them holding the master calendar, spotting collisions, and encouraging collaboration. If the men's ministry schedules a retreat on the same weekend as the youth mission trip, the executive leader negotiates adjustments so resources and volunteers remain balanced. They also mentor ministry directors, offering performance feedback, spiritual encouragement, and conflict resolution coaching.
Healthy teams need clarity, and this role really helps provide that. Some ministry directors hold regular vision retreats where every ministry maps out goals linked to the church's overarching mission statement. Tangible outcomes like baptisms, volunteer hours, and community partnerships guide each department's quarterly action plans.
One of the more fun and challenging leadership roles is the youth pastor, who shapes future leadership. Beyond teaching lessons, they counsel teenagers wrestling with identity, social pressure, and vocational questions. They plan retreats, facilitate student led worship nights, and mobilize mission trips that widen horizons. An effective youth pastor values authenticity. Teens spot fakeness instantly. Trust grows when leaders share personal stories of faith formation while pointing students toward scriptural truth.
A youth pastor I read about once organized a career day where church professionals described faith in the workplace. Students heard from nurses, programmers, photographers, and electricians, learning that every vocation can glorify God. Several students later pursued internships through those connections.
The youth pastor needs plenty of support in their work, and they get it from the director of youth services. This person handles logistics like van rentals, permission slips, volunteer background checks, and snack inventories. When administrative details run smoothly, the youth pastor devotes energy to relational ministry rather than wrestling paperwork.
We've covered several key roles, but there are some big ones still ahead. What's next?
Outreach is key to extending church impact, and the minister of outreach identifies community needs, forms partnerships, and rallies volunteers for service initiatives. They might coordinate meal deliveries for seniors, host financial literacy workshops, or organize neighborhood cleanups. By meeting practical needs, they open relational doors for spiritual conversations.
One creative outreach minister I heard about arranged free bike repair clinics in a park every Saturday. Volunteers fixed flat tires and adjusted brakes while chatting with families. Parents grew curious about the hosting church's values, and many visited services afterward.
Evangelism is what happens when a church shares good news through those relationships. The director of evangelism ministries trains members to articulate personal faith stories, hosts seeker discussion groups, and equips teams for prison or campus outreach. Evangelism thrives when rooted in genuine friendships instead of sales pitches.
It's not an easy thing to share the gospel in a real, genuine way that doesn't come across as pushy. A good evangelism director helps members learn how to do that and invests the time needed to grow those skills.
And those efforts, and the work of the other roles we've covered, depend largely on modern communication efforts, and that sort of digital excellence falls on the director of media and communications. They curate the church's online presence through live streams, podcasts, social channels, and newsletters. Their responsibilities include content planning, graphic design oversight, and engagement analytics. Effective media ministry reaches homebound members, traveling business people and seekers exploring faith from a distance, so the media director needs a diverse skill set.
During lockdowns, many churches pivoted to online platforms. Those with skilled media directors retained community cohesion and even expanded reach. One congregation even streamed services to deployed military members who later testified that regular connection kept their faith vibrant.
We have one more role to discuss, and it relates to a topic that affects every church, no matter the size: safety. The director of security coordinates volunteer teams, establishes emergency protocols, and coordinates with local law enforcement. Visible yet unobtrusive security fosters peace of mind, so congregants can focus on worship. Duties for this role include crowd flow management, medical response readiness, and property surveillance during off hours.
One article I saw mentioned a church that employs off duty officers and trained ushers who attend quarterly scenario drills. Parents reported feeling relaxed, dropping kids at classrooms knowing their leaders prioritize protection.
Now that we've covered all 12 roles, it's worth noting that how they look in different churches can vary. Smaller congregations might combine responsibilities. A bivocational pastor could double as finance overseer, while a gifted volunteer manages media. Large churches allocate full-time professionals for each area. Regardless of scale, clarity remains essential. When duties blur, accountability weakens and growth stalls.
If your church is struggling to define and fill these roles, don't panic. There's a path forward. Step 1 is evaluation. Gather a representative team, list current ministries, and identify gaps. Step 2 is prayerful nomination. Seek individuals with character, competence, and commitment. Step 3 is training. Provide resources, mentorship, and clear benchmarks. Step 4 is feedback. Celebrate wins, analyze setbacks, and adjust systems periodically.
Sustainable leadership also requires healthy rhythms. Encourage leaders to rest, practice Sabbath, and attend spiritual retreats. Burnout undermines ministry far faster than budget shortfalls. A rested leader hears God's whisper, discerns priorities, and models balanced living.
And when leaders are healthy, renewed, and strengthened, they can help build faith communities that are thriving. It's also important to note that while we discussed leadership roles specifically, the responsibility for creating a healthy church doesn't rest entirely on these 12 types of leaders.
It's vital to remember that everyone in the church plays a part in that story. Whether you feel drawn to teach kids, crunch numbers, lead songs, or design graphics, your gifts matter. Approach your pastor or ministry coordinator. Share your passion and take a step. Churches flourish when members move from spectators to participants.
We appreciate you spending this time with us on the Church Growth and Giving Show. Our hope is to help churches out there clearly define, fill, and live out the leadership roles and responsibilities they need to love and serve their communities well. Take a minute to like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time